Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Postgame Podcast. Luke Stuckmeyer, Ryan Herrera, Cody Delmendo. 6 straight wins for your Chicago Cubs. Guys, they look great. They beat the Cardinals. They made the Cardinals look stupid from the first inning on. It was one of the weirdest starts to a game that I've seen in a long time. You guys hear, is there an echo on your end? Am I getting the only one with the echo here?
Yeah.
I get no echo. You are the only echo.
All right. Well, then never mind. It's probably my head. It's all in my head.
Sleep deprived.
Weird. Let's get right to the beginning of it, right? Because the Ian Happ swing, how could the Cardinals think he did that on purpose to Wilson Contreras? Is that the dumbest flunk in the history of baseball?
I mean, not only is that just like, I don't see any player in baseball really doing that to any player. Like that's a pretty crappy thing to do to do on purpose. But like Ian and Wilson were teammates for what, like 6-7 seasons? Like remember that picture of them hugging in the dugout at the end, like the last game before the trade deadline at Wrigley, like they were, hugging, thinking that it was the last time they played at Wrigley together. Like they're I would say they're relatively close, and that's not something that Ian Happ would do on purpose. So to think he did it on purpose, that blew my mind. Seeing that take on Twitter was like blow my mind, because no, it wasn't on purpose. And you saw him like look concerned. You saw him seemingly apologize to Wilson. Like obviously couldn't hear what they were saying, but it looked like he was apologized. They hugged it out. Wilson walked off, and it was good. And then then the takes started coming.
Yeah. I see Craig's comment, and it makes me laugh a lot. It says, I would be embarrassed if I were a Cardinals fan, except they are too dense to feel embarrassment. And he's exactly right, because I can't believe there are actual Cardinal fans on social media tonight actually defending the acts of Miles Mikolas on the internet tonight. I mean, yes, Luke, it was the dumbest plunking I've ever seen in my 32 years on this planet of watching baseball. Okay. Because it wasn't like since when does a backswing accidentally hitting the catcher become like some sort of like thing? When did that become a thing where it's like, oh, he's trying to do something, he's trying to hurt someone? Like what? I don't get it. There's 2 outs, no one on in the first inning. 2 outs, no one on in the first inning. He swung at a pitch. That's all he did. And Wilson, which if you guys remember, I remember, this isn't the first time that's happened to Wilson Contreras when he was with the Cubs. This happened before.
He should know Happ's swing too.
Right. And I'm not saying that this is Wilson Contreras' fault. Like, it was an accident. It was an accident. This is all on Miles Mikolas. Like, if I was his teammate, if I was a Cardinals fan, I would just be embarrassed because of him tonight. What he did was so bluntly stupid, and like there's nothing you can say that says that wasn't intentional. First pitch, he threw one at Ian Happ's head that just luckily Happ got out of the way in time. Second pitch hits him in the waist. Yeah. And then Chip Carey has the audacity to actually defend it on the Cardinals broadcast. Are you kidding me?
My take on that is, like, had he hit Happ with the first pitch, Happ obviously took it and just ran over to first. Like, he hits Happ on the first pitch, that it's over, it's done with, whatever, move on, right? The fact that he went back and hit it, and he missed the first one and then hit him with the second one is what did it in my mind. Now, I'm kind of a little more in the middle of that take. Like, had he not been thrown out, like, I think, whatever, move on. But again, this goes back to like, he hit him, or he tried to hit him with the first pitch and missed, and then hit him with the second one. So I'm like, okay, then at that point it's intentional, and the umpires have a right to throw you out, right? Like, Sarah, yes. Do we have the rule from MLB.com handy? Here we go. Most hit by pitches are unintentional. They often stem from pitchers trying to throw the ball inside but missing by a few inches. Pitchers, blah, blah, blah. However, a pitcher may sometimes throw at a hitter intentionally as a form of retaliation. If the home plate umpire suspects this is the case, he has the right to eject the pitcher and the manager of the pitching team from the game. So
You're
everyone's saying
See you later.
that they didn't give him a warning, all that crap. Like, well, for one, the umpires do not have to give anyone a warning. Like, if they deem something intentional, they have the right to throw you out without giving a warning. Again, had Mikolas not missed Happ with that first pitch and hit him, then you could argue it wasn't intentional. Go to first base, take your base, and move on. The fact that he came in with that second pitch and then hit him, that was where the intentional aspect of it became pretty clear. And at that point, the umpire has a right to throw you out. So what I'm saying is, like, I was fine had he not been thrown out, like, whatever, move on. But like, the fact that people are saying he shouldn't have been thrown out is also like, no, like,
wrong.
there's an argument that he should have, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, you could say whatever, move on, but also, like, you can't just say the umpires were completely wrong for throwing him out, because I don't think that's true either.
Right. No, Chip Carey's wrong for saying that. Here's what I think, Ryan. Like, I'm not even sure that's the way it played out. I think Miles Mikolas, as I was watching, I thought, first of all, he throws basically at his head a fastball. Mm-hmm. I'd have thrown the guy out right there, but I think Mikolas was thinking, if I buzz the tower, I can get away with hitting him on the next one, because I can say, oh, it's slippery. It's so humid out here tonight that it slipped out of my hand. I think that's what he was thinking.
It looked like that's what he was saying. It looked like when he was talking to the umpire, that's what he was trying to say. It was slippery.
Because it's even worse if he was trying to do it the way you're saying, and he actually threw basically at his head with a fastball the first time around. Now I'm 1,000% ejecting the guy from the game. I don't know if you had to eject him for plunking a guy in the thigh. I don't think Happ really cared. But because he had thrown at his head the first time around, that's why he got tossed. If he would have taken the first pitch and plunked him in the thigh, everybody would have moved on. It still would have been stupid to start the game by hitting the guy in the thigh for no reason whatsoever, when he actually went and apologized to his friend for making him bleed and having to leave the game. That part was stupid. I thought JD and Boog tried to cover it up a little bit in the broadcast later on, saying, well, Wilson's had – the only thing they could think of was that Wilson's had a tough time in St. Louis. Pitchers have come out and say they don't want to throw to him. So maybe this was Mikolas's way of saying, hey, man, I got your back. You're still my – look, I'm going to defend you against your former – we do love you more than they love you. I don't know. The whole thing was ridiculous. It ended up costing them 3 runs, and that was more than enough for Justin Steele to power the Cubs to their first 500 record since, what do we decide, May 13th?
May 12th.
May 12th, 19-19.
Yep.
This team's on fire.
The only thing that I would rebuttal on, like what you just said about, the whole narrative around Wilson Contreras, is that just like, again, it's a backswing. How can you purposely try and hurt someone with a backswing? The same swing that Ian Happ has been doing since he became a major leaguer in 2017, man. Like, this isn't like, we all know about the unwritten rules in baseball and all this stuff. And we've talked a lot about how a lot of it is dumb and it can be dangerous and all this stuff. But like, I just don't see when did a backswing that accidentally hits the catcher become a way of like trying to get back at someone or something like it's so dumb. And that's why, to me, the reaction from the Cardinals broadcast, the reaction from Mikolas, like, and anyone who's defending it, I just think you look really stupid. I really do. I think you look really dumb. And
I mean, I agree. I think it's like, sorry to cut you off, but I'm like, I think it was stupid to hit Happ in the first place.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the dumb part about it. Like, why? Like you said, is not absolutely wasn't intentional. You can see by the way he reacted and apologized to Wilson that it wasn't intentional. I don't know what the message is. Like, why are you hitting a guy who, like, if he did something on purpose, unwritten rules of baseball probably call for it. Like, what unwritten rule is there that you hit a guy because he hit the catcher with a backswing on accident? Like, that's the stupid part. It doesn't make any sense.
We've all swung a baseball bat before. You can't control how far the bat's going to go when you follow through, right? Like, to an extent, right?
I mean, to an extent. There's the argument that you should control it enough that you don't hit the catcher with the in the helmet with it, right? But it's also just like, it's not like Happ does it every time he swings the bat. It's not like he did it on purpose. The whole situation, the fact that trying to send a message or make a point and hit him, I just thought it was dumb. And like whatever happened after that, like whatever. If it's up for debate, karma. It's up for debate. But I think the situation, the way it started, was just dumb.
Yeah.
Hello to
it was
everybody.
karma, like I said.
Yeah.
Like they 3 runs scored, Morel driving into the bases loaded walk. Like, and now in an even bigger fashion, with Mikolas coming out of the game, they had to use their bullpen in the first game of a 4-game series. Not that it matters too much for them, but in terms of the Cubs potentially sweeping the series or at least winning 3 or 4, they certainly helped the Cubs out with that. Like, it just, I don't know. As much as I troll the Cardinals and I troll their organization, their fans and everything, I do have some sort of like little bit of respect on like how they play sometimes, and like, respect that they're good every year, more often than not in my life. But what they did tonight is one of the most sorry, like disrespectful, like I can't even put the words in my mouth. It was very, very like not even like the Cardinal way, like that I make fun of all the time. It was if any other team would have done this, I would have been shitting on them like I am the Cardinals right now. Because it's the Cardinals, it only gives me more fuel because I hate them. So like this is just, again, it doesn't make any sense to me why it happened, but I'm glad that it did in some aspect because the Cubs just made them pay, scoring 10 runs tonight, and I'm ready to watch the funeral for a second weekend in a row.
By the way, Bears fan, man, with kind of a funny comment in the chat. Hello to everybody in the live chat. Happ has a hard enough time making contact with things swinging the bat forward, let alone hitting something behind him without looking.
Well, that's just me.
A little bit of shade. I will say
hit that ball today.
Yeah, I will say that
he had a homer yesterday.
Yeah.
Somebody in the chat was saying I was reaching. I'm not sure what I was reaching about, but I will say that Mikolas has made some questionable decisions. 1 was throwing at Ian Happ. 2 was walking out with that mustache. And we'll just leave it at that. And he took
some super chats,
which was great. We do have some super chats, huh? Where are they? I haven't seen them yet.
There you go.
Oh, Stuck's still awake.
Stuck's still awake. Cards are tools. $1.99, Fernando. Stuck somehow made it to postgame. He was the last one.
I didn't think I was going to make it today. I had an emergency diaper change I was doing upstairs right before this. I thought I was going to be a little bit late, and not on myself either. Not on myself. So
the other one, Fernando, $1.99, when plunking the batter takes 2 tries, ... cards ... Yeah. Again, 2 tries. I mean, and like Ryan said,
that's what you tossed.
I wholly agree. I wholeheartedly agree. Like if he hits him on the first pitch,
whatever,
then no one probably even like thinks anything of it.
You probably get the warning. You probably get the warning at that point.
Where was he trying to hit him if he was throwing that fastball? Like, was he trying to hit him in the upper back? Because he really missed badly. If that was the case,
no, I don't know.
I mean, it was chin music.
Mm-hmm. And I guess if that fastball, if that first pitch would have hit him like in the head, then yeah, maybe the situation ends up worse than I guess we're talking about a completely different situation, but and maybe still shitting on the Cardinals for being so stupid. But yeah, I mean, like Brian said, I still think if they just hit him on the first pitch, wherever it is, like it's not something that anyone in this chat is talking about right now. So.
We got one more.
Yeah,
Guy Finley, $10. Guys, this is fine, but we're giving the Cards attention they don't deserve. How big is the mob at Clark and Addison if Jed trades Belly now? I think it would look like a Frankenstein remake.
Well, I mean, the way he's playing right now,
yeah,
you wish there were no injuries. You wish that jump hadn't happened into the fence and he'd been healthy all season because. Well, I mean, he's playing like an MVP since he's come back. I mean, you can't question how good he looks right now. Not just at the plate. How about that double play he turned with Dansby Swanson where he dives? There were 2 really nice defensive plays. Nico Horner had a nice one at second base, throwing over to first. But that one from Bellinger, snagging the ball, moving to his right, throwing it to Swanson and getting back to the bag for the double play. Guys, I could even if you're a Mervis fan, I could envision that guy at first base for me for a long time. That's all I'm saying. Like I'm not saying he's not a great center fielder, but if you have other guys in the organization that can play center field close to that defensively, and he can play first base like that, it's a pretty attractive guy for whatever the price might be this offseason. Whether or not you're thinking about trading him at the deadline, 4 games from now, that's irrelevant. Whether or not you're going to sign him in the offseason is what I'm really interested in. And I think he's a guy they should be interested in signing no matter what.
Definitely.
I think maybe we haven't really talked anything about this, but like, what if Mervis becomes a trade chip and he gets moved? Maybe that's telling of what the Cubs are envisioning at first base at the end of the year if they keep Bellinger. But
Yeah,
I think Bellinger's getting center fielder money this offseason, and they're not gonna pay him center fielder money to play first base, in my opinion. Not exclusively at first base is what I would.
That's
what
fair.
I would think. I think
he wouldn't anyway. He would still play all across the field. I think.
Yeah.
But
so
he play a lot of first.
I don't think Mervis is out of their plans just yet. But on Bellinger's, we're talking about him 3 for 5 today. We've been talking about how good his July has been. In July, he's hitting 425, an 1189 OPS, 4 doubles, 8 home runs, 24 RBIs, 9.5% strikeout rate. He's been on fire for like almost an entire month now, and it's honestly stretched back to like the last week of June. But now, with this month on his season, he's batting .317. He's got a 910 OPS, 382 weighted on base average, a 142 WRC plus, and a 16.6% strikeout rate. He's like performing at an all-star level. It's a shame that basically like a month and a half was kind of taken from him with the injury, and then kind of getting back in the rhythm from that. On top of the first couple weeks of May weren't as good as his April was, but like just on the season, he's put up insane numbers. And when we talk about what him and Scott Boras were looking to do coming into this season, turn down other multi-year offers to take a 1-year deal on a place where he knew he was going to play center field every day or first base, wherever. He was going to get everyday playing time, a chance to just kind of reestablish his value on the market and then hit free agency. Like everything's kind of gone according to plan for Scott Boras and Cody Bellinger. I think everything they were hoping to get out of this season as far as like what Cody Bellinger his value could be going into free agency. I think they're still 2 months, but they're on the path where like it's mission accomplished, and they're like Scott Boras is just hoping, and Cody Bellinger too. They're hoping that Cody keeps this going for 2 more months so that they can get to free agency and cash in, because the way he's playing, the way he's played most of the season, he's going to be a pretty coveted asset come free agency.
And Ryan, it's worked out for the Cubs just as well. Really?
Yeah,
like
totally.
What is it? $18 million he's making this season. It's
17 and a half guaranteed. Yeah.
Yeah. So with it being the 1-year deal, the Cubs wanted one of 2 things to happen. Either A, he has a good season and you do too, and you can keep him and he helps you, or B, he has a good season and you can trade him. So the Cubs still have both of those opportunities. JD and Boog talked about it in the broadcast. The Cubs are kind of in an enviable position in this way, in that they do have the ability to go either way. They're not forced. Their hand isn't forced to sell these guys, because they still can say we're in this, right? Which is what fans want them to do. Say we're in this. At least most fans do. But you can now go to a team if that wanted Cody Bellinger and has been watching him for the last month and say, well, if you want him, the price is high, because we don't have to give him up. We can still compete in the worst division in the National League. And he's the key to us still winning this division and getting to the postseason. So we don't have to give him up. If you want him, make us your best offer. And if that's not your best offer, you better make it pretty quick, because other teams are calling us too, and we're listening to them. So the Mancini deal has not necessarily worked out for the Cubs the way they hoped it would. The Hosmer deal was whatever it was. He was hardly making any money when he come to baseball cash. But the Bellinger deal, that's working out perfectly for both sides, not just Bellinger.
Yeah. No, tell me he's like there's been games in this last month where there's been stretches of games this last month where he's kind of carried the Cubs offensively. Like I put him on his back and carried him. And, now the Cubs offense around him has woken up the last couple weeks and taken care of business. But yeah, no, I think Cody Bellinger has been like, especially this month, that April, like he has been like everything the Cubs could have kind of hoped for the most part. And as the Cubs are on this stretch where they're working their way back into the NL Central picture, the wild card picture, like Cody Bellinger has been, honestly, Cody Bellinger, maybe as far as the position player side goes, has been like their MVP. I'd say, Justin Steele's been up there too, obviously, as far as pretty impressively good, kind of carrying them at times. But he only pitches once every 5 days. Cody Bellinger seems like he's having a good day at the plate and a good day in the field every single night. And that's been as important as anything for the Cubs this last stretch of games.
Yeah, I mean, one play that we didn't mention defensively, I think Swanson fielded a ground ball at some point in the game, and he kind of almost airmailed one, and Bellinger just jumped up and got it. And thankfully, whoever was running to first was slow, but just to be able to go up and get it with the athleticism that he has, and come down and still get the out. Again, Swanson makes better throws than that 9 times out of 10, but again, it just kind of describes how good he is, how athletic he is, and how versatile he is. And I mean, I don't know if they're going to re-sign him, if they keep him. I don't know. I don't know if they'll pony up the money. Even if he has a hot two more months, I don't think he's going to get more than $200 million. And I think the Cubs can then afford that. And if he does that, then it's only going to make the idea of bringing him back for not only fans, but I think even guys on the team will want him to come back. It's going to make that even more of a thing. And then I think if you do keep him and you end up going on a run or whatever, and you don't at least put a sizable offer out there, then it's going to look really bad. So, yeah. That's pretty much been my take on it over the last handful of weeks. The Cubs finally back to 500. If they play like they have the last 6 games, the rest of the series, I think they're soft buyers. I think they're going to try and go for it and get into the postseason. And they're only going to be able to do that with Bellinger. And to me, he fits perfectly on this team. Luke has said it a few times. I think we've all basically kind of said it a few times. Like he is becoming something for the Cubs, and he's already a fan favorite, but he can really be something, be part of something really special here during this next window that's supposed to open next year. He's already won a World Series with the Dodgers, whether you want to count the 2020 World Series, but he's got MVPs. He's been successful. He's shown He's shown in the past to be a successful player, and we've seen why he's been on winning teams. He does more than just hit. He does more than just play defense. He does it all. He literally does it all. He's a 5-tool player. Like, to me, I'm not saying you do whatever it takes to keep him, but you got to do a lot.
He's a superstar, Cody. That's what you're trying to say. He's a superstar with superstar credentials who's now playing again like a superstar, and the Cubs don't have that guy. Dansby is a great baseball player, but he is not a superstar in Major League Baseball. Cody Bellinger has been a superstar in Major League Baseball and is starting to play like that guy again. That's why you can't let him go away.
I think that's where the caveat that I said earlier of like he's got 2 more months, right, to kind of prove it. Because if you really think about it, he's been really good for 2 months and has been not as good and hurt for 2 months this season. So it's really been half the season thus far of really, really good Cody Bellinger. And yes, he won the Rookie of the Year in 2017, won the MVP in 2019, also had 2+ really bad years, right? Injuries played a part in that, and him being healthy, I think, has played a part in most of this season, him being kind of resurgent, superstar looking like Cody Bellinger. But I think the caveat still remains that you got to give him the end of the season, right? Like people were ready to give him the extension at the end of April, and we saw what happened in the next 2 months. Like it wasn't Cody Bellinger, right? I want to see him get to the end of the season before I am ready to stamp him as a superstar again. I think him being healthy, I think the way he's playing now, I think he can do it. But I do want to see him finish the season strong, healthy, finish it strong. He's playing well. He's playing good on both sides of the ball. I need to see that before I'm ready to say, like, give him superstar type money.
Is it fair to compare him to Chris Bryant? Is that a fair comparison? Guys that were
I think so,
rookies
yeah.
of the year, MVP, injuries have derailed them, and obviously they're not lining up. They're not going the same direction at the same time. And maybe KB will never capture that again, but it looks like Bellinger is recapturing that.
Yeah,
to me, that way they're similar.
I think that's fair. I think the way their career started, the way the next few seasons have gone for him, I think that's a pretty fair comparison.
Yeah, I mean, going in the offseason when the Cubs signed him, we all kind of, had the idea of if he could get back to where he was, a lot of that would be due to perhaps Cubs' new hitting coach that was his hitting coach with the Dodgers.
Excuse me.
The ability to stay on the field and change the scenery. And I think, I don't give him a lot of flack for the injury because the injury is from an unreal catch he made in center field in Houston. So it's not like he got hurt running the bases, like pulling his hamstring or something like that. Or, I don't know. Like it was a injury that, like, you can't measure if this guy's injury prone because of this, but the change of scenery has definitely been a thing, and no one talks about it. But I do think the Cubs hitting coach that, used to be his in LA has played some part in it. I do think that has. And then just the fact that when he has played, he has been healthy. And so, he's healthy. He's playing like a superstar MVP type player. So it's interesting how, those years in LA, how bad they were. It makes you wonder, like, did he really just need the change of scenery, or was he actually playing hurt a lot? Like, I don't know, but I'm just glad that he landed in the Cubs' hands, and they now control their own destiny with him. I'm with Ryan. Like, I would, for the most part, like I want to see him the rest of the year continue to do. I'm not going to expect July numbers in August and September, but just continue to be, this 5-tool guy that is valuable, that plays the defense that he plays and gives you quality at bats, even when he does make outs, forcing pitchers to throw a lot of pitches, take walks, hit the ball over the field. That's another thing. Like, he's not a left-handed pull hitter. Like, he is spraying the ball all over the field. Like, if he just continues to do all those things, that's a guy that you're going to want around. So, yeah.
Yeah. All I'm saying is, like, I need to keep seeing it, right? Like, I'm not ready to say give him superstar money right now. I'd like to see it to the end of the season, and I guess I'm gonna start saying, like, ready to see that happen the last 2 months while with the Cubs, right? I think we're in that position now. I think we're in that position where these Cubs might actually buy or not sell. I think
like Cody said, the path to getting to the postseason and a playoff berth is a lot harder to see without Cody Bellinger. Like, it's difficult without Marcus Stroman, but because of the way he's pitching, we were saying last night, it's a little bit easier to see. The way Bellinger's playing, you take him out of the lineup, their offense is basically number one in baseball since the All-Star break with the guy. That's the thing that's been missing all season, has been the offense. I mean, sure, there's been problems with the bullpen and stuff, but they haven't scored enough runs. Now they have a guy who's got some power, and adding him back to the lineup has completely changed the way the team is playing baseball against some bad teams, but it's changed the way they're playing baseball right now. Yeah. We got another super chat from Baseball Junkie, $10. Should have got to this one faster. Cows are flying and the wind is whipping around here in Minnesota. No storm would prevent me from tuning in and celebrating the Cubs being 500 again with my favorite crew. St. Louis sucks worse than any tornado.
Hell yeah. I like that.
Baseball Junkie coming strong.
He had a second one. He had a correction. He had a correction. Typo correction on his first super chat. He meant to say worse than any tornado. He's getting 2003 vibes from this club right now, minus a 40 homer guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
That 2003 team, won like 84, 85 games, something like that. Like
they were sneaky. Right. I don't remember exactly the win.
They came out of nowhere.
Sneaky. Yeah,
they came out of nowhere.
We got one more.
We got another super chat.
Ben Paul, $1.99, pay Belly. Everyone's starting the campaign to pay Cody Bellinger. I wish that we could use the super chats to pay Cody Bellinger at the end of the year.
Well, you don't, because we wouldn't have enough to pay Cody Bellinger, but
that's fair. And then I wouldn't be able to myself to get paid. So,
I tell you what, Cody, right now, all we really want to look forward to, Summer Fridays, Sunnyside Summer Fridays. Tell us about Sunnyside and why it's so perfect for Fridays. I love those get out of work early days on Fridays. I love a Friday 1:20 game for the Cubs because it means I'm home on Friday night.
Absolutely. And when you go home early from work on Friday, you can stop at Sunnyside.
That's right.
Before you go home. And then you got your whole night made if the Cubs happen to be playing a night game like they did tonight. So Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer, a one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs. No matter where you are in your cannabis journey, easy online ordering and in-store pickup, great transparent loyalty program, the Sunnyside Rewards. Illinois' favorite dispensary from the city to the suburbs, Champaign to South Beloit, and Wrigleyville to River North. Guys, which Chicago athlete made you feel good this week?
Cody Bellinger, many times, right?
Same.
Cody Bellinger totally did just tonight.
He's
Ian Happ Ian Happ made me feel good tonight for making the Cardinals do something stupid.
Yeah.
Justin Fields today. Hogue, our guy Adam Hogue from the Bears said that he threw a dime or something like that. So I'm like, just hearing that kind of stuff makes me feel excited because football season's almost here. So Justin Fields
football season
made me feel good.
I'll say Mike Tauchman, because the summer of Mike Tauchman has been my favorite bit of the entire year. So through August, head to Sunnyside.shop and use code CHGO25 at checkout for 25% off your total order, one use per customer, not stackable with other promotions. That's not only for new customers. Anyone can use our code. Pick up everything you need to elevate your summer. Must be 21 plus or an Illinois Med Card holder.
Hooters,
maybe
guys,
get some Hooters on the way.
Gotta get the Hooters. Gotta get the Hooters this weekend. Your spot to catch all the games this season. Step up to the plate for their world-famous wings, delicious seafood, stacked sandwiches, salads, and more. Tons of great beer specials, too, and $6 drinks all day, every day. Check out their seafood specials. How about $19.83? That's 83. $19.83 for a pound of crab legs and great prices on buffalo and steamed shrimp. Hooters is celebrating 40 years in business all year long in honor of that anniversary. On the 4th of every month, Hooters is hosting throwback events, bringing back the 80s with 83-cent wings and other great specials. Next one coming up August 4th. I love their sweet tea. Let me tell you, sweet tea at Hooters. Good. You get the wings, they're a little, get a little spice going, and then you get something cold.
Yeah. Michael Scott, also a big fan of Hooters. If you haven't
Michael
seen that
Scott loved Hooters. 11 locations in the area.
Yeah.
You guys there? Am I missing you? I'm
here.
You're here.
I'm trying to find you now.
Uh-oh.
I don't see you.
You don't see us.
I don't see you.
Stucky's having issues.
He's having technical difficulties.
I see you now. I think I see you now.
Am I back? You're back.
And he's already, everything's going haywire.
Here's a good segue into the second segment. And Luke, I got to give you a lot of credit. While you were gone, I learned I taught myself really good to do good segues. All right.
Segue special.
This is the worst segue I've
heard.
So. Then he gives a bad segue.
Adbert Alzolay tweeted, "Never a doubt when Mississippi fastball is on the bump." And then he has a typo. But anyway, he's tweeting about Justin Steele again. And we haven't talked about Justin Steele. So that's a segue, guys. Justin Steele, again, quality star.
Awesome.
Dude's awesome.
Justin Steele has been like, if you're doubting him as an NL Cy Young candidate right now, you're just like in denial or lying to yourself. Steele today, 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, and 13 whiffs on 50 swing. That's good for a 26% whiff rate, plus 10 more called strikes. Good day for him on the mound, and considering how hot it was in St. Louis today, like it's
like 100 degrees.
Yeah, right. That's good for him. He's 11-3, I want to say, on the season now. He's got a 2.87 ERA, a 1.12 WHIP, a 5.4% walk rate, 50% ground ball rate, 5.7% barrel rate, and a 31.1% hard hit rate. For those of you people that don't care about stats, let me just tell you, all of those are in the top 6 of the National League, including that hard hit rate, which is first. The ERA is second. He's been awesome. He's been really, really good. He's got 13 quality starts so far, 4th in the NL. It's like every time he goes out, he's become that guy where you're like, yeah, the Cubs, it's win day, right? Like that's what David Ross has called it before. It's win day. Like you can be pretty confident that Justin Steele is going to win. I think the Cubs were actually underdogs today going into like as far as betting lines go. And I'm like, with Justin Steele on the mound, I don't know if I'd call them underdogs, but that's just how I feel about watching Justin Steele. Like it feels like every time he goes out, he's going to give them a really, really good chance to win. I'm more shocked when he doesn't do that at this point. And like I said, an easy NL Cy Young candidate. I don't know where he is as far as like if he's the favorite at this point, but he's easily put himself in that discussion. And it's just been really cool to watch that. I mean, he did it for most of the second half last year before he got hurt, but now he's doing that like all season this year. It's been pretty cool to see.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And one of the great stories, by the way, another super chat from Carter Hawkins, $5. Cubs GM getting involved. Don't forget the Cubs can put that qualifying offer on Belly in the offseason. Yeah, that's another reason that he's different than Marcus Stroman. Stroman, you can't put the qualifying offer. So, that's interesting. I would love to see him back on the team next year. But like Ryan said, let's see it happen the next 2 months. And if then that happens, then it becomes Shohei 1, Bellinger 2. In that order. Shohei, Bellinger. Maybe both. Why not? The Ricketts make a lot of money. Not? They got the new
sportsbook
on the corner making money. Yeah. What do we got here? Mad Mike.
Mad Mike, 1999.
Ooh. Oh.
I'll read it. Great W today, and we should take this victory day by day. I've been on this train. We can take back this division. Also, we should not sell. Also, rumors are speculating that Arenado might be dealt to the Los Angeles Dodgers. There's a lot to take in there. If the Cardinals trade Arenado to the Dodgers, I mean, it'll be funny, but also like a little sad too, because it's like now it's only going to make the Dodgers better. But I would love to see the Cardinals move Arenado so I can go back to cheering for him again, because he is one of the greatest that I've ever been able to watch. But I don't want to see him go to the Dodgers.
Would you be willing enough to get good prospects for Arenado on the Cubs?
Yeah. I mean, you get 4 more years. It's not like he's a rental. You get 4 more years. Yeah. I know the advanced defensive metrics this year are down. Like he's won like a Gold Glove 10 straight years, 1 down year. Can he get back to playing a better defense next year? I don't know. But the only thing that's kind of scary is like he's in those 4 years, it's like age 32 to 36. So, you're getting the back half. And he's making a lot of money, but he would fill your third base hole very clearly. So, is it worth the risk? I think, but do I give up PCA for him? Not this year.
Boy,
if the Cubs were ready to win the World Series now, yes, but they're not ready to win the World Series now. So,
there's no team in baseball, Cody, that would give you more anxiety or more of an upset stomach than watching a pile of prospects go to the St. Louis Cardinals. Am I right? Like, there's no other franchise in baseball that you'd be more afraid of trading with.
Yeah.
If you're the Cubs, for sure, because they always seem to come out on the right side of those kind of deals.
Yeah.
Either which way, whether they're getting a Nolan Arenado or sending him out, like it feels like they'll probably come out on the right side.
Well, Arenado and Goldschmidt, they fleeced the Rockies and the Diamondbacks because they're poverty organizations. No offense to our friends at DMVR, PHNX, but it's just the facts. However, they still did trade Zach Gallen and Sandy Alcantara and Adolis Garcia, and I'm feeling like and Randy Arozarena. So they somehow have bad trades too. But yeah, do I want the Cubs to trade for Arenado this year? No, not really.
Cody's turning this into a Cardinals podcast.
Well, they did play the Cardinals tonight. But,
well, we were talking about Steele. We were talking about Justin
Steele.
Yeah,
we were talking about the super chats.
That was the
I got us off track with the super chats.
The major segue into the Justin Steele segment.
Back to Justin Steele. I didn't try to talk about Arenado. Luke asked me the question.
I was just, I got us off track.
Giving you crap.
I was trying to go back and see what Ravi was fighting with somebody named Martell about, but I can't figure it out. It's too far back.
Ravi, thank you for having our back for whatever that is.
I think Ravi does have our back, but
appreciate it.
That's why we love Ravi. Ravi's the man. He never misses a show, and when he does, it's for good reasons.
Jack R in the chat, he is asking me to give him credit where credit is due, and as a man of integrity, guys, I am willing to give him some credit. Not fully, because the Cubs still, they could completely shock us and do something really stupid. But I will give him some credit. I'll give him even more credit if there are buyers or soft buyers, whatever you want to call it, at the deadline. But a week ago, I think I had a lot of reason to be very, very pissed off at this organization a week and a half ago. 8.5 back in the division. That was awful. I think 7 games back in the wild card. The ground that they've made up is awesome, and it's great, and I love the way they're playing right now. But don't tell me that I wasn't wrong to say what I said. So,
do you view Steele as the ace going into next season?
I guess unless they sign Shohei Ohtani, but
even if Stroman were here, would he be the ace going into the season? I kind of think so.
I think what he's been doing this season has been ace-like, right? Like he's starting to turn into that guy that you kind of look at as your ace. I do believe Stroman. He said yesterday that he's just kind of felt off mechanically since St. Louis or since London. That Sunday start in London against St. Louis, and he said he's felt off mechanically since then, working on some things. So I do have faith that he's gonna turn things around. I don't know that he's gonna get back to what he was in that first half, because that was so dominant for a while there. But I do think Marcus Stroman can get back to that. But regardless of if he's here or not, I think you're looking at Steele as like your number one guy next year. He's been that good.
Yeah. Well, if Stroman's not here, that means that they have other starters out there. Like Aaron Nola is a guy that's supposed to be on the market this offseason. Like I don't know if the Cubs are interested, obviously, but maybe if they do trade Stroman in this, buy/sell deadline, we'll see Wisniewski pitch really well for two months, and maybe he is inserted into the rotation opening day again next year. And Tyone's pitched better of late. Hopefully finishes the season strong. You feel good with him in your top 3 going into next year. They have other young guys too, but like they'll if they trade Stroh, they're definitely going to have to go out and find another free agent pitcher. And we can sit here and dream about Ohtani all we want. Like that's kind of the thing about Stroman is, he hasn't pitched well of late, and if it continues, then he ain't going to opt out anyway. So if they do trade him, maybe it's the good thing that they trade him, but they still have to, either way, they still have to go out and find another starter, like a proven one, So I am interested who would be in that 2-hole with behind Justin Steele next year if it's not Stroman.
Yeah, a lot of people saying Snell, Nola. Someone just said hopefully Ben Brown will fill that number 4 hole next season. I agree. Like that's one thing about letting Stroman go. If you're not able to bring him back, is that you've got to figure out the top of your rotation. But
Mhm.
but for right now, the way you're looking at this run for the postseason, the Cubs are in this for a couple reasons. One, Bellinger has played the way he has. Two, Justin Steele has pitched the way he has. And they've been able to piecemeal a little bit the bullpen and cover up some of the things. But really, a lot of the stuff we said going into the season has unfolded the way we expected it to. Maybe the bullpen's worse than most of us thought, although I know the Godfather, Michael Collada, said right from the start, not enough arms in the bullpen. But if ALLCITY is now that guy, which we said early in the season might be, that's developed. Now, some of the younger guys haven't really come up yet, but that still could be coming. We still could have some guys come up and start to help the team. Maybe that's Wesneski fills that void if Stroman's gone the last couple months of the season. We'll see. But right now, 6 straight wins for the Cubs. If you sweep the Cardinals, you give Jed something to think about, let me tell you. Something else to think about, guys. Pins and Aces, the official golf apparel partner of ALLCITY and CHGO. We love our Pins and Aces gear. We get tons of compliments on and off the course. They are a family-owned golf and apparel business. They make amazing polos, hats, golf bags, even our favorite beer sleeve. That's an innovative product that allows you to store not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, but 7 brewskis right inside your golf bag. Keep those drinks cold the entire round. Check out pinsandaces.com and use the code CHGO to get 15% off your first order and get free shipping. That is pinsandaces.com. Just had one of their golf shirts show up at my doorstep this week. Super comfortable.
You said you had a golf shirt show up this week?
Yeah, golf shirt from Pins and Aces, a polo.
So you might as well wear that to our CHGO Die Hard Cog Hill event, right?
Well, I was thinking that, but now, from what I understand, everybody that plays in it gets a Pins and Aces polo.
Ooh, okay. Well, let me tell you about it anyway. CHGO Kickoff Classic at Cog Hill is coming August 25th, 9 a.m. 18 holes with the cart, exclusive CHGO and Pins and Aces polo for all players. You got whole contest, giveaway prizes, lunch, drinks, and a ceremony after the round. You get a Die Hard discount if you sign up as a Die Hard, so make sure you got that going. But that's, with us, our CHGO Kickoff Classic at Cog Hill. So we are very excited for that when me and Cody are talking about just kind of driving around golf carts and having a good time instead of golfing, because I'm terrible at it, but
Happy
I think that's what we're gonna do, right? What do you think, Cody? Is that the plan?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm down to do best ball. Like, me and you can just pair up with guys who are actually really good, and we get to swing it a little bit. But whenever they hit their ball off the tee, like, we'll play with their ball because we suck. But I like best ball. I don't have to really try that hard. It's just give your best effort.
Designated putter. You could be the putter, just the putter.
I don't know, man. Are we going to play mini golf, or are we going to an actual golf course? I mean,
so I mentioned the Die Hard discount, but let me tell you about being a CHGO Die Hard. We got podcasts and live shows on every team every day, post-game shows, premium written content for diehards at allchgo.com. You get 20% off events if you're a diehard, so that's always helpful. And discounts on merch, our dope merch, as Luke likes to say, for all our teams. You get a free shirt when you become a member. You get to join our members-only Discord, the CHGO Lounge, as we like to call it. We still haven't gotten our lounge robes stuck.
No,
so
we're working on it.
We're working on it.
We're a year and a half into
robes.
it, trying to get those robes.
and also right now, you go to our CHGO locker. We got the CHGO locker summer sale. You get up to 50% off select items through July 30th. So go to chgolocker.com, check out what we got there. A lot of cool stuff. Just dropped the new Cubs shirt, I believe. I don't know that it's on that discount, but it is a cool shirt. So make sure you go on chgolocker.com and check it out.
Great time to get it, considering the great game that he had tonight.
Sweet emotion. Sweet emotion.
Yeah.
Gary.
Sorry. I was just another segue, Luke. Gary mentioned that David Robinson got traded to the Marlins in the chat. So, I just wanted to say, the one thing that annoyed me tonight, and it was a very, very small annoyance, and it didn't really matter.
But Anthony Kay giving up another homer. The Cubs desperately need a left-handed reliever, man. They desperately need a left-handed reliever. And our guy Kevin Wells in the chat says, go out and get Aaron Bummer. And I absolutely agree. Even though he's from the White Sox, he's pretty good, and he has a year of control. He's the lefty arm that I want. He's the one that I've looked at and I've been like, if you're going to buy, you got to get a left-handed reliever. And that's what I think they need to do is get someone like him.
By the way, we're all going to be at the takeover, and I see Mike Dubs, in the chat saying there's a little buzz going around that I'll be at Wrigley on August 16th for the Cubs Sox, which will be the CHGO takeover. I saw
source?
Kevin Wells on TV last night, almost the entire broadcast, sitting like first or second row, and you could just see him in the background giggling as the Cubs were coming back. He was slightly out of focus, but I guarantee that's who it was sitting second row. Tell me I'm wrong, Kevin Wells.
He wasn't, because he tweeted at me whenever Tauchman got the bases loaded walk. He tweeted a video of him getting the walk from his seats, and he was literally right by like the Sox dugout. So
yeah, 100% it was him. You could, I saw him like, I was like, is that Kevin Wells?
I want to talk about actually Tauchman. You mentioned Tauchman and Nico.
Yeah, Palatine Pounder.
Yeah, two guys at the top of the order. Two guys, Nico, obviously a guy they invested a lot of money in for the next few seasons, bought out his arbitration years, and I believe a year of free agency. And Mike Tauchman, who didn't start the year on the opening day roster, but has been up pretty much since Bellinger got hurt. But we're talking about this run, especially the last handful of games since the All-Star break and what the Cubs have been able to do. Nico, over his last 9, which is since that 17-3 win on July 18th, he's hitting .405. He's got an 1137 OPS, which includes a .488 on base percentage, 3 doubles, 2 homers, 9 ribbies, 5 walks, 10 runs, 4 stolen bases. Has had some BABIP luck in there, 382, which is rather high, but he's also only striking out 4.7% of the time in that stretch. Nico was a guy that, we talked about him struggling, right? He was going through a little slump at the same time that Happ and Suzuki were. And that just, when you have 3 of your supposed to be best hitters doing that like that, it was obvious why the Cubs were struggling as a whole at that time. But Nico's turned it around a lot in the last 9 games. So, his season WRC plus is over 101. So he's an above league average hitter again. And then Tauchman, over his last 10 dating back to July 16th, he's hitting 333, 998 OPS, 3 doubles, 2 home runs, 11 ribbies, and 5 walks. So he's also having a very good stretch of games. 415 on base percentage. When you're talking about him leading off, you're talking about a guy that's putting together really good at bats, really good plate appearances, taking his walks, or getting the ball, finding grass with singles and stuff. So he's been really good at the top of the order. He that kind of goes back to when he took over for Bellinger in center field. You're starting to see guys throughout the order finding it again, right? Nico's finding it again. Tauchman's had a really good stretch. I know Saya has been a little up and down the last couple of weeks, but he's put together some really good games. Yan Gomes, what do you have? He had another double today. Mm-hmm. You're starting to see guys throughout the lineup put things together, right? And that's why they've been scoring so many runs during this stretch, is the offense is figuring out how to even just manufacture runs, not hitting a bunch of homers or whatever, but manufacturing runs. And that's, considering the pitching has been like what carried them for a large majority of the season, to see the offense now the last couple of weeks playing their part has been huge for them.
Yeah, and corner positions have been a problem right this year, but last year, look at outfield. It was a disaster. Ortega, Hermosillo, the guys they kept marching through there, but both guys that they've added this past offseason, Bellinger and Tauchman, both good signings. They've definitely upgraded their outfield in one season. There's no questioning that. Sorry, I interrupted, Cody.
I was just gonna say the Tauchman. It's just, I don't understand it. Like he was a signing that we didn't even talk about. We might have talked about it for 2 minutes in the offseason. I would love to go find the audio of us talking about the Cubs signing Mike Tauchman.
Yeah. I think it's centered around, he went to Fremd, Ryan went to Elk Grove, I went to Prospect. Let's move on to the next topic. Yeah. I think that's probably how it went.
I love the bit, but I really do like watching him play. Like, he gives you good at bats every time.
Mm-hmm.
He's just sat in that leadoff spot against righties specifically and really owned that role. And like, he's a journeyman. He hasn't really had is like consistent playing time with other teams outside the Yankees in 2019, but he got his opportunity and he just took it and he hasn't given it up. Even Bellinger came back and he's still getting time in center field because he's played well enough in center field for the Cubs to feel confident with him out there still. And it's fun to watch. So like, I really have enjoyed watching him play. So it's good to see, when those types of like deals and signings work out, that's a sign of, finding when you can find those diamonds in the rough, like that, like it's a sign of a good
It's those
team.
marginal signings, right? Like,
Yeah.
people harp on like the Mancini and the Hosmer and that kind of stuff, but like Tauchman's I think he was just a spring training invite signing, if I'm not mistaken. Like, he was a guy who he's had a successful year, right? Like, or he's had some success in the big leagues with the Yankees. He's not a prospect, right? Like, he's like at 32, maybe something like that, 31, 32. So he has obvious big league experience. And like, going back to spring training, David Ross talked about him and was impressed with his plate approach, all that stuff. It just seemed like, he didn't have, there wasn't the room on the opening day roster for him, even though maybe we could argue he should have been, over Mastrobuoni, whatever. But yeah, now he's gotten his shot. He ran with it, and you see it just like every at bat he goes, right? He's patient. He is following balls off. Like, he's, willing to take a walk. It's like he's, for what they've needed at the top of the order, he's been delivering for most of the time since he got brought up. And I think that's also been obviously really important for the Cubs.
Jack R saying, Luke, have you done immaculate grid at all? I just heard that term for the first time last week. I don't know what that means.
Oh, you don't know what the immaculate grid is?
Is it a game?
Yeah, it's a game. Yeah.
What was the one that I was playing where I would type in 5 letters, and then the 5 letters, you would tell you how many letters you guessed right. And if you got 2 right, then the 2 would stay there. People still do that. Is that Wordle?
I don't know.
You had to guess the word, and it was 5 letters across, or 6 letters across, and then you would pick 6 letters.
I don't know.
And then you get another shot at it.
I agree with Jack.
Come on, it's still out there.
You would be good at immaculate grid.
Wordle, thank you, Gary. Wordle, Shane, Wordle. Immaculate grid, I'd be good at it.
You would, because all you got to do is just remember old players. That's basically it. That played for different.
Oh no, I'd be horrible at that. I can't remember what I ate for lunch.
All right.
I don't think I'd be very good at it.
I feel like you would. You've just been around for a long time. No,
I'm old.
That's not disrespect. That's not disrespect. I just think that you covered a lot of teams, seen a lot of players. I feel like you might remember some names. All right.
Carter Hawkins says we need Jonathan VR back. That's a sign that we should get to who you got before we go. Who'd you have tonight? I had Happ, and I make my argument on he made the Cardinals bleed and he made them do stupid things. Ian Happ.
But he did take the hit by pitch and didn't say a word.
He took one for the team. He took one for the team.
Yeah. And he walked again later in the game.
It's probably Bellinger again.
3 for 5.
Anyone who had Bellinger?
He had 4 for 4. He had a walk and a run score.
Yeah, Bellinger 3 for 5.
It's Bellinger. It's his 13th multi-hit game this month. In fact, Brendan wins, but he wanted to take Nico, but Ryan took him first.
Yeah, it happens,
Only Morel would have had a chance to maybe beat Bellinger. He also had 3 hits. So
it happens. It's okay.
Morel had a great game. He's
congrats, Brendan. Congrats.
He's getting ready to get hot again. I'm ready for another 5-game streak of homers from Morel this weekend.
I asked Brendan if he wanted to come on tonight. He said he had family in town. Good to hear, Becky, that your dad is doing okay. And folks, this has been our second full 1-hour podcast live of the day. So if you missed the first one earlier this afternoon, 1 to 2, we had another good crowd for that one. We were out at the National Sports Collectors Convention in Rosemont at the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center. Good time there. We met Bo. We talked. Bo is the guy collecting 1 million Cubs baseball cards. That was fun. We recapped the Crosstown, had some fun with that. Check it out. Go back on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page. That's here on YouTube at For All CHGO, and make sure you're also signed up to be a diehard. As Ryan mentioned earlier, the Cog Hill event coming up close now. That's the Kickoff Classic at Cog Hill, August 25th, 9 a.m., 18 holes with a cart. You get an exclusive CHGO and Pins and Aces polo if you're playing in this. There's going to be whole contests, giveaways, lunch, drinks, ceremony after the round. There's a diehard discount because there's always a diehard discount. And right now, you can get a lot of dope merch because there's 50% off select items in the CHGO Locker summer sale going on through the 30th. So just through the end of the month, make sure you get after that right now. Let's see. Brendan and Corey will have a wrap up for you coming on Sunday, right?
Yep.
And hopefully we'll be there Monday, Tuesday to lead you right up to and through the trade deadline as it's getting closer, and we'll see what happens with that. But for right now,
maybe we'll have an emergency pod over the weekend. You never know.
Might have an emergency pod over the weekend. We also might have 7 straight wins, 8 straight wins, 9 straight wins. Who knows? Right now, 6 in a row. Cubs with a hot stretch. Offense is playing as well as it's played in a long time. See if they continue it tomorrow against the Cardinals as they go for 7 in a row. Anything else, guys, before we sign off?
One question.
Mike Woodson, former head coach of the New York Knicks and now head coach of Indiana, says that you guys need to let me talk more. So I agree.
Thanks, Coach. We appreciate that.
Sorry.
Ryan, send us off then.
I'm not high on IU coaches, but fine, whatever. I'll listen.
272 people still watching on a Thursday night at 11 o'clock at night.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Do I have a punchable face?
Oh.
I don't know what a punchable face is. Like, you don't have a face where I look at you and say, I want to punch that guy in the face, if that's what you're asking.
All right.
But if you were to punch anyone in the face, would Cody stick out among the rest is what he's asking.
Somebody says you have a punchable face?
Someone on the internet today told me I have a punchable face. So I'm on the mission to ask people if I have a punchable face. That's my new thing. I'm going to spend my entire weekend asking everyone, do you want to punch my face? Do I look like someone you want to punch? And then I'm going to report to that guy.
I got to go. There's diapers to change, and I got to figure out Immaculate Grid before I go to sleep. Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast. Cubs win 10-3. We will see you next week. Don't forget to check out Corey and Ryan. Are you going to be on?
Oh, my God.
Are you going to live? Are you going to make it to Monday?
Are you going to make it to the trade? Just send us off. Just send us off.